Hello, everybody. I'm here with Council Member Peter Ortiz, friend of mine for a long time. Thank you, Council Member, for taking this interview.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Omar.
I wonder if can I just call you Peter or should I?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Please call me Peter.
Um, so Peter, last 4 years ago, you ran basically as the underdog, as like the outsider, somebody who who came out like some people told me, right? He came out from the hood, basically. They said, right? Um, Sorry about that. You won the elections, but now as a council member, um, I want to ask you, right? Because you're seeking for re-election. I want to ask you, like, what is your credential? And when I say credential, I'm talking about like couple laws, policy, project that you can tell the people, this is what I've been working on. And so in order for us to kind of know, understand what you've been doing this last 4 years.
No, absolutely. Thank you. First off, thank you, Omar, for this opportunity. Appreciate being able to speak to you, a longtime advocate, community organizer in the East Side, and appreciate you giving me this opportunity with your viewers as well. And so, yeah, I've been elected for the last 3 years. I want to thank those who voted for me as well as those who supported my campaign. You're right, I was an underdog. But one thing that I had for my benefit was a long time experience in grassroots organizing, in fighting for the working people and immigrant community of the East Side. And I have taken that and now have utilized that same skill set in my role as a council member. Introduced policies since day one. I've introduced more than 40 memos to the local rules committee meeting, which is our first level committee that hears policies before they introduce before the city council. I want to say I have more policies passed than majority of the council members who started when I did. A lot of mine have been laser focused on improving the quality of life for our residents in District 5. Just to name a few, as you know, because you used to live on the East Side, we struggle with the continued theft of catalytic converters. And so it was my honor to co-author a policy which established the strongest consequences for the theft of catalytic converters in the state, right? Not just, for the history of the city of San Jose, but really in the state, right here in the city of San Jose. Another thing that I'm very proud about, in the same line of public safety, which has been my number one priority, is I've stopped the expansion of problematic liquor stores in the district. Eastside San Jose has more liquor stores than any other neighborhood in the city of San Jose, right? And this isn't not about being anti-alcohol. If somebody would like to, purchase alcohol, we have plenty of liquor stores where they could do that. But we have too many. That's not the type of environment where we want our kids to, walk home from school by. And so I've already denied 2 liquor stores from opening in Eastside San Jose. And then another one is smoke shops. District 5 has more than twice the amount of smoke shops in our neighborhood than anywhere else in Santa Clara County. This is not something that they would allow, in more wealthier areas. But unfortunately, we have had, to be brutally honest, council members asleep at the wheel. They are not paying attention to what's going on here on the district, right? And so, we've even had smoke shops open up across the street from schools. And so I introduced the first in the city's moratorium on smoke shops. And now we're pausing any more smoke shops from opening up in the city of San Jose. And then the second portion of that piece of legislation is to call on the city to create a formula or strategy to reduce the concentration. So the first step is no more smoke shops. And the second is reduce the concentration of smoke shops in areas where there are already too many. Because I hear stories from families in my district that individuals walk, when they're kids, especially kids walking home from school, they walk by 2 or 3 smoke shops, just to reach their destination. And so those are some areas. To be honest with you, Omar, I have so many to mention. I guess another area I've been laser focused on is revitalizing our local economy. I'm trying to get both public and private investment. On the east side, one way I'm doing that is doing the first. This is the first outside of downtown San Jose, the first ever entertainment zone, which is coming to District 5 directly. It's going to be directly in front of the Mexican Heritage Plaza on Alamrock Avenue. And what that will do is streamline street festivals in order for us to recognize and celebrate the diverse culture here in the city of San Jose. I'm also putting forth a business improvement district. And what that does is it's essentially like an HOA where business owners can come together, pool their money, and spend money on power washing our streets, having staff to go up and down Alamrock Avenue to pick up trash, to pay for new murals, to put on festivals, right? And I got this idea from watching what other council members have done in other districts. And one example I used was downtown Willow Glen. You see there, they have beautiful banners, they have murals, they are able to put on street festivals. I want to see what other districts have done to be successful and bring that into the east side. And so that should be coming. I've already introduced the bid. That should be coming to vote either in December or January. And so other council members for District 5 have tried to do this in the past, but they've never gotten this far. And so that's going to be a major priority for me. And then, obviously there goes, my work advocating for the immigrant community. Before I was on the council, the most the city of San Jose has ever allocated to our immigrant population was only $15,000 when the city started in partnership with the county, the Rapid Response Network. That went from $15,000 to when I got on the council and essentially put our money where our mouth is and got us $1 million for our immigrants. And that's besides all the other policies. And so I could go on and go on, Omar, but I know we have more to talk about, and I've already been talking for 5 minutes about this. So, happy to entertain other questions.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know a little bit about your work because
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know about those issues that you just told me. I knew
Yeah,
about all the issues. The thing is, people who are not paying attention, usually they don't understand, they don't know
yeah,
what the council member is doing, right? Because I used to go to the meetings before and I
mm-hmm.
used to know everything going on. Right now, I don't, I'm not doing that, so I'm kind of
Yeah, yeah,
disconnected.
yeah. No worries, no worries.
But it is good because I'm learning too. But I want to, I mean, just one comment. My wife car, one day she turned around and said like, something is wrong. I think the engine broke down. I said, no, the cat got stolen. They stole the catalyzer from my wife's car. Um,
Mm-hmm.
about the liquor store, you know,
Yep.
like I said like over 7 years ago, I went to the Overfell High School, and I met with a group of students, and they told me this. I mean, this is students. They was asking for this. They were demanding this, and they told me this. And but like you told me, I was advocating, working on the grassroots, and I didn't know about policies, right? And
Yeah.
they're asking me for this. They told me we don't get healthy food. We just get liquor store everywhere we go.
Yep.
Fast food, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King, and liquor store.
Yep.
And we want to eat something. We don't have access to healthy food. We just have access to junk food. I mean,
Exactly.
that's but politicians, they just don't pay attention to this because it's not happening in their district, or they just they're not listening to the people. And I'm talking too much. I'm not supposed to be talking too
No
much.
worries.
I'm tired.
No, no, no. I appreciate that. Don't worry
So
about that.
about the Maxa, I saw you
Mm-hmm.
pushing for Maxa, and unfortunately, Maxa got on fire one day.
Yep.
Uh, so, can you tell us why it's important to bring back Maxa?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just, as I've talked about public safety, a major part of public safety is making sure we are fully staffing first responders, whether it's San Jose Police Department, our fire department, our EMTs, our medical professionals. We want to make sure that when the public needs them, our first responders are there. But it's important to remember that first responders is only part of public safety. The other part is intervention. If we are going to solve crimes before they happen, before a young kid who's misguided, who takes a gun and robs a liquor store, or for example, somebody who's going around breaking into cars and stealing catalytic converters, right? If we are truly going to prevent crime, we need to double down on intervention in youth programs. Now, Moxa is a program that I know worked. That was a sacred space. I've been very public about my past. I joined a gang at the age of 12. I was formerly homeless. I was formerly, an alcoholic. I had a tough time growing up. I grew up very, very hard, right? But I was able to turn my life around because of public programs funded by the city and other agencies, like the Mexican American Community Service Agency. That's actually one of the first spaces where I felt seen as a young man of color, where I felt like somebody cared about me, especially a male role model. My father left when I was very young, and that's how I got lured into gangs from a male bonding and male acceptance. Individuals worked there who were formerly gang impacted, formerly incarcerated, who lived on the east side, who had real experiences, right? And we were able to build that bond. And things that are culturally based, that are in the community, right? We're not going outside to get these services, that are within the east side, right? And that provide these services, whether it's mental health, anger management, public service, workforce development. These are the things that are going to move the needle for our youth. It's much easier to save a troubled youth than it is to try to rehabilitate somebody who's been in a gang for a long time or may have been homeless or something like that. We're still investing in those individuals, but if we can catch the youth before they fall through the cracks, right, that is much more cost affordable, and we will save a life, and we will prevent a crime. And so I know that I am not, unique. There are plenty of young people who are homeless, who are in gangs, who, whether you're in a gang or if you're, shoplifting, or you're participating in crime, who are smart, who have capabilities to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's what I see as the Moxa program. And I advocated, and we were able to get $500,000 for pre-development fees for that program. Now that it's burnt, now I want to use those dollars to identify a pathway forward, to work with the developer to get an estimate of how much this is all going to cost. And then we could go back to the city and ask for more money. Then we could go to the county and ask for more money. Then we can ask the state legislature and, of course, our philanthropic partners. But it's important to me that the city has skin in the game where the issues are. And one of the main things that we need to do is invest in our youth. Because if we're not, right, then we're going to end up having to incarcerate those individuals. And those could cost more than hundreds of thousands of dollars to incarcerate an individual, for a year. I'd rather provide that individual education and opportunities than to criminalize them.
Taxpayer money, if you
Yeah, and taxpayer money, exactly.
um, so I followed the debate for the District 5 4 years ago.
Mhm.
And I think there were like five candidates, if I don't
Correct.
recall, five candidates. And yeah, the safety issue came out on the question. I mean, all debates are gonna have
Yep.
those questions, right? And everybody say more police, more police, more police. And you were the only
Yeah.
one that we need to work with the community. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, awesome. I mean, we need to have full staff, but
Yeah.
if 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 you don't invest in the community and the kids on
Yep.
prevention, then you need to hire more police, more police, more police, right? When you can use more money to work with. That was a smart, actually. I'm gonna say you won my trust when you say that. So like
Mhm.
he knows what he's talking about, and and that has to do because you suffered that. You
Yep.
being in gangs. You told me you were alcoholic, and that's the lack of help, the lack of the government, the lack
Yep.
of opportunities, right? And
Yep.
so my understanding that's max up, but also I have to ask you about, so how are you, how, where is the money coming from
Mhm.
to help max me? Because that's gonna, I mean, I see as something interesting, something
Yep.
that's gonna be big, but
Absolutely.
also I wonder, I'm gonna be like a conservative right now. Where's the
Yeah. Yeah.
money coming from?
No, no, no. I appreciate that, right? And I'm not asking for the entire dollars to come from the city of San Jose. here's the thing. We've already gotten some preliminary cost estimates. Things may change, especially due to uh, the tear down of the building, right? Because this was before when we were talking about
Yeah.
rehabilitating. The first it was initially rehabilitating. Now we're talking about new infrastructure. So the dollars we were looking at, don't quote me, but it was like around 22 million dollars. So if we were, for example, the city of San Jose has something called community development block grants. These are grants that come through the state and then through the federal government, that the city can get millions of dollars if they are focused in areas of low income, poverty, and working class areas. Moxa, the Mayfair area, is an area that is categorized as such. When you look at the census tract, it qualifies to be able to receive community development block grants. We could, I'm ready to do this as a council member, make the argument that this is an investment for the betterment of the city of San Jose, and really for the not just for Eastside, for the entire city. Because as we talk about it, this is the real solution to crime. If you don't invest in our kids, they're going to be breaking into your cars. They're going to be doing things. It's going to cause everybody problems if you are not investing in our kids, and if you are not meeting their needs as youth and as individuals. So my argument is this: if we really want to solve crime, we need to invest in youth at their beginning stages, at their adolescent years. Amoxa is a perfect example of that. Kids came from throughout Santa Clara County. People came from as far as Gilroy, right, to go to Amoxa for programming. This is something that can have a regional impact if done right. And so I believe I can make the case for 3 to 5 million. I believe that we can reach out to Supervisor Young. She could advocate her dais at Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors. She could probably get more money than what I could get, because the city usually has less funds. I don't want to speak for her, but I know that she is on board with this project. And then we go to the state, and then there's philanthropic dollars. We're already talking to, and we've had credible conversations with Sobrato. Nothing's finalized yet, but organizations like Sobrato and other philanthropic institutions in this county have been watching this discussion going on for the last couple of years. And so this is a reality. This is not something that is pie in the sky. If I can, and then if we can get city government dollars, city and county government dollars, the ask of philanthropic partners is easier, because then it's not just, oh, we're funding it all by ourselves. They're going to say, oh, look, the city's funding, the county's funding. Let's come to the table and get something done.
Yeah, I remember I was working with Matthew, I forgot his name, um, and he said they're waiting for the city to start investing. Once the city start investing, then they're gonna say, "Oh, this is something viable." Then the money is gonna start flowing. Um, so sometimes people don't understand if you take somebody from gangs, from poverty, and help them to get a career or seek higher education, then you turn the kid into an asset, and he works, he
Yep,
pays taxes, and he help other people, and then he make
exactly.
a business, hire more people. That's the nice thing about investing in our community. Um, also, uh, I know you for a long time, Peter,
Yeah,
for since you were also advocating. I mean, you've been advocating in the community for better salaries, for workers' rights,
yep,
for immigrants' rights, especially immigrants. You said it, right? And one of your policy is, and you mentioned it, to increase from 15,000 to over $1 million to help immigrants, right? Really, I mean, I respect that, but because really, really few politicians they want to to do something for the immigrant community, especially undocumented community, because
yeah,
they don't vote. So,
exactly.
and that's sometimes pissing me off. And sorry if you don't like what I'm gonna say. Uh,
Yeah,
Supervisor now, no, and on that moment, Supervisor Dave Cortez, it broke my heart when he lost the election. Then he was putting on the table because Sam Ricardo sent a letter to collaborate ICE and the county. And I told him, "You're breaking my heart by doing that." Good thing he put it out and then put it underneath the table, and now that's
Hmm.
in the past, right? But why advocating for the immigrant community? But I have to say thank you. But I want to ask you why for people who don't understand it.
Yeah, no, no, no. Thank you for that. I can't comment on Senator Cortez. I would just say, no elected official. Neither am I. I'm not perfect either. You know what I mean? We're all human beings, and so it just we all have shortcomings. So I don't want to comment on that. But what I can say is, I represent East San Jose. I know what I got into when I ran for this office. We are the largest concentration of Latinos in Northern California, largest immigrant and undocumented population in Northern California, and I represent them. Majority of them are in my district, and even before I was a council member, I was involved. I was a union organizer for security guards and janitors with SEIU. I go up to the state capitol, and when they were writing the sanctuary state laws, I was advocating for that. At Sacramento, when they were putting the sanctuary work site laws, I was advocating for that. I've shut, as you know, before I think during the campaign, I shut down the Golden Gate Bridge, alongside my girlfriend for immigrant rights when, the vice president and Congress didn't want to go over the parliamentarians' purview and push through a pathway to citizenship. So I've been passionate about this, and it's not just, I want to make sure it's not just because I'm a council member, but I do take the fact that I'm a council member serious, and also that it's my job, to represent everyone, not just the citizens, not just those who can vote, and not just those who do vote. I represent. If you live in my district, if you go to my district, if you own a business in my district, I represent you, and I've been clear with where I spend my time. I'm not just in the wealthier areas of my district in the foothills. I'm in Mayfair. I'm in Pokeway. I'm in Colmar. I go to Capitol Park. Those Cassell, King and Story. That's where I organize. That's where I fight. That's where advocate for, right? Because if we're going to improve East San Jose, we have to do it together. I believe, you can go far alone, but no, you could go fast alone, but you go further when you're together. And it's just something I truly believe. I take it personal that the federal government is coming after undocumented immigrants, really, because what I know is, they're coming after undocumented immigrants, but what they really want to do is just come after brown people. They just have more leeway to come after those brown people because they're undocumented, right? And what we've seen already on TV, they're even pulling over Puerto Ricans who are United States citizens. It really doesn't come down to, citizenship or not. They want to reduce the population of people of color in the United States. They're not over here deporting European immigrants. If you look at what Trump has done recently, he's put preferred immigration towards European countries and for white immigrants, and that's fine. I think we need immigrants from everywhere. I'm not against that, but let's have the same rules for all countries, right? If you look at the city of San Jose, our economy runs on immigrants, many of them undocumented. More than 50% of our small businesses are founded by immigrants, and mostly immigrant women. More than 40% of our population are foreign born. The city of San Jose cannot stand. It cannot be stable without our immigrant population. So when you come after the immigrants, you're coming after the city of San Jose as a whole. And whether people may be divided and they may be confused about all this rhetoric, right? But what they don't realize is that by supporting people like Trump and by supporting those policies, they are hurting themselves, and they are hurting their neighborhoods, and they're hurting their very own families.
A lot of MAGAs, they say they don't pay taxes, but when you work, they don't ask you if you want to
Yeah.
pay taxes. They take it away.
You
When you
shop at a store, you're paying sales taxes.
Yeah, and most of the money that goes to the county and for our healthcare, for us, people with documents, US citizen, white people, is being paid by immigrants, undocumented
Oh
immigrants.
yeah,
They buy something. So, well, but I want to move now to your campaign because I,
sure.
I understand you, we have limited time. Um, so. like I say, you're running now as a council member.
You're freezing a little bit. You're freezing, Omar.
Okay,
One
yeah, I
second. You're
noticed that.
freezing.
Okay, now it's better. Okay, you're running now as a council member, so you're seeking re-election. Um, Looks like the people responded pretty good to your campaign. You told me like 200 people there, but I was asking other people, they say close to 300, maybe around 300. And
Yeah.
and somebody in San Jose told me that there were people outside the restaurant. I didn't go. I didn't get to go.
Yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
your first campaign kickoff, the first one 4 years ago, but I didn't go to this one. So, how do you feel about your campaign? I mean, you feel confident or are you
Yeah.
nervous?
I think the way I run my campaigns, Omar, is as if I'm 5 steps behind. I'm always going to run my campaigns as if I'm an underdog. I did that when I ran for the Mount Pleasant School Board, did that again for the County Board of Ed, and I did that for City Council, and I'm going to do that again. I never want to get comfortable. I never want to feel too confident. Of course, I am confident in the work I've done. I think there's nobody who can deny the amount of dollars I brought to the East Side, the amount of dollars I fought for the Latino community, the amount of policies I've introduced for District 5. Of modern District 5 council members, there hasn't been anybody who's been as intentional and as focused as bringing forth policies that will better the lives of East San Jose. I'm in. And so I'm confident of my ability as a council member. Now, as you know, politics get tricky. There's dirty tricks, there's whisper campaigns, there's lies, right? And so I could still be confident, but people, there's a reason why we have Donald Trump, all the misinformation that goes out there. And so I'm still confident. I think people have been paying attention over these last 3 years. They've seen an increase of activity from their council member. They've seen that I'm present at the neighborhood associations, at the community events, at protests, at advocacy opportunities. So I'm confident. I'm confident in my support, but I will always, campaign as if I'm, 2 steps behind my opponents because if I'm not doing that, then I just don't feel comfortable.
Um, so usually on campaigns for a school district and for council member, they're pretty, I say, mild campaign, like nice campaign, not a lot of negative publicity. Uh, but the last trustee campaign for the school board, I saw a really negative campaign against somebody that you and I know. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
do not mention my name, please.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No worries, no worries.
And I'm worried, like, wait a minute, that's like a $300 salary per month, and somebody's running a smear campaign with a lot of money for that position for a $300 a month. I mean,
Yeah,
that made me think maybe things are changing, and maybe we can see, especially with your work, because when you advocate a lot for the community, for the
yeah,
people, there is people on the top that they might not like it. Or people on the
exactly.
other side, they might say, oh, he's too close to the people. He's not close to the rich people, the powerful. So
Yep.
I'm like concerned maybe we will see a negative campaign against you. Are you prepared to respond somebody? Like, are you ready for that? Like, what are you doing to respond if there is a negative campaign against you? I mean, I know it's hard to respond something like that, but I wonder if
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
consider that.
No, no, great, great. You're absolutely right. My girlfriend ran for school board, and special interest spent $40,000 against her campaign. It was a local school board race. We had only raised 25,000 because we weren't expecting, major opposition. But due to my advocacy, specifically for immigrant workers, a lot of immigrant workers here in Santa Clara County, people did not. They saw her as me, and they didn't want me to build support in the east side of San Jose, and so they oppose her. And so I think it's clear that you know the status quo is scared of my ability to unite my district. They are scared of my ability to win because I'm not just advocating, I'm delivering results for my district. And East San Jose is being heard, you know for the first time in a long time. I'm in the media almost every week pushing a new policy, fighting for a new cause. I just last week we fought for our businesses right here on Capitol Expressway. I got $500,000 to support immigrant and local owned businesses who've been impacted due to VTA construction. And people see that I'm effective, and so they think, okay, I want to stop him before he can get further. But my message is this: we're just getting started. Working people are tired. They are fed up with the cost of living in Santa Clara County. People cannot afford to live here. You yourself, you had to move because it got so expensive here in Santa Clara County. We're seeing more and more families move to the valley, move to other states. And there's very few elected officials who will advocate for renters, who advocate for workers, like I will, unapologetically. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, we can expect that. I am going to be also unapologetic in my campaign. I have already secured the support of almost every single neighborhood association in my district, almost every single neighborhood leader in my district. I've been working hand in hand with the labor movement. The endorsement doesn't come until later in the beginning of next year, but I'm more than positive that the outcome of that endorsement will go in my way. And I've been the leader of, on the council, I've been the leader of the Democratic Party, standing up for democratic ideals, pushing back on special interests. I expect, the Democratic Party will have my back as well. And of course, I'm not like what they say, a one-trick pony. Yes, I support immigrants. Yes, I support workers, but I also support Latino immigrant businesses. The taquerias, our small businesses, our nail salons, our local corner stores, our tiendas. All these business owners on the east side support me. I have they can't use the business association name, but the president of the Alum Rock Santa Clara Street Business Association, Helen Massamori, has endorsed me. The president of the Alum Rock Village Business Association, Juan Carlos, has endorsed me. Longtime, east side business leader Jesus Flores, Connie Alvarez. I had built a strong multi-dimensional coalition of small business, of immigrants, of advocates, of organizers, and we are ready, and we will have a well-funded campaign. I'm very grateful to the support that has already come my way. I'm proud to, it's only been a week, but I've already raised $30,000, and I know that other people will come to my defense as well. And so we're getting ready, and we're ready to defend our record against anything.
So you remind me, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. So when BTA they build a fast lane for BTA on Allen Rock,
Yep.
also you advocate so businesses get some money, reimburse some money because of the inconvenience they were going through,
That
losing a lot of
that
business.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was like I want to say 6 years ago. But then I just did it again. I just did it again for businesses on Capitol Expressway with VT. I
I
thought, yeah, yeah.
I saw you on the media. I saw you in the
Oh,
media.
oh, you saw.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he's doing it again. Okay, I got you. So
Well, some of the things that historically, when transportation infrastructure gets built, it usually harms working class communities. If you think about how the freeways were built in this country, it literally bifurcated black and brown communities. It created segregation and went right through
yeah.
our neighborhoods. You saw that in LA, you saw that in San Diego, and things like that. And so this is nothing new. I'm just holding VTA accountable to make sure that they compensate my community, because what they were doing is they were doing outreach, they were passing out flyers. It's like, okay, because this construction, what happens is they'll say is like, oh, we love the driveway open into the business, but as you know, the human behavior is this: if there's a whole bunch of construction happening on a certain street, we're just going to avoid the street. We're not going to go over there and say, oh, I'm going to go to La Grienza and have some tacos or enchiladas or something, or I'm going to go to Fast Pizza to get some pizza. No, we're going to go somewhere else because we don't want to get caught in that mess. And so that's what's happened. And I'm essentially holding their feet to the fire and making sure that they're doing doing right by our district.
So I have a question about Mandani. He didn't get their support by the Democratic Party establishment. Uh, do you think are you gonna get it?
Well, this is a different election. I've already have the support, of course, like Ashkalra, Supervisor Young, Supervisor Arenas, I got the support, Supervisor Ellenberg, of course, Domingo Candelas, Pamela Campos, Council Member Kamei, I think I will get, majority of the Democratic Party, like official Democratic Party establishment. Now, when we think about like society's establishment and like corporate institutions and like wealthy people, I don't know if I'm going to meet with everybody. Here's the thing: I have an open door policy, but I'm also like unapologetically, I advocate for my district, and my district happens to be working class, immigrants, communities of color, and very much poverty impacted district. So that's where my focus is. But I keep my door open to everybody, and I'll meet with anyone.
Yeah, it looks like sorry, looks like that you got the support from the people and from the business. But you've been when I'm talking business, I'm talking about businesses. I'm talking about small businesses, local
Yeah,
business, being the mom
yeah.
and pop up business, not like bigger corporation, right? You
Hmm.
are with the working the local business, right? Like
Yes.
I think English they call it the mom and pop up business, something like that, right? Is that with the businesses you're working on? I have
Hmm.
to ask you this question. So you said it, right? I had to move because my rent went
Yeah.
crazy, high, over $5,000 a month. Um, and like, let's say if the landlords corporations, the California
Yeah.
Association of Apartment, they want to make a big donation in your campaign, will you take or reject the money?
I'm not seeking, major, landlord, donations. I do have like Jesus Flores. He's an individual realtor. I know him. He's a good guy. I will accept individual realtor
Jesus Flores, right?
endorsements and invest. Yeah, Jesus Flores and things like that. But of course, I'll always meet with the realtors in the apartment association. They never have though. They never reached out to me, but because they kind of, but I'm not, I'm not going to talk bad about them. They're doing their job and I'm doing my job, and they're advocating for their interests and I'm advocating for my interests. And so I'm not going to like, attack them or anything like that. And if they do come after me, then, I'm apologetically pro working people. And, I don't apologize for that. That's who I am, you know?
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, Councilman
Yeah.
Peter. Peter, you're my friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No worries, no worries, no worries, brother.
And thank you for your time. And I think we agree for 30 minutes. It's been 37 minutes.
No worries, no worries. Well, it was good to just, catch up, man. Good to just catch up.
Yeah. Anything you want to say, like to
No,
finish?
just I guess you could look at my website, Ortiz2026.com. A list of my priorities. I'm still in the process of building it out. We just activated it this week to begin developing funds. And yeah, you could, either consider signing up to volunteer or make a donation. We are a people powered, campaign, as you mentioned. I'm not soliciting it, but I don't think I'm going to be getting major investment from special interests. And so I rely on working people, everyday people, to volunteer in my campaign and to donate to my campaign. And so please, if you're out there and you want to support, don't hesitate to reach out.
So can you say that web page again?
It is www.ortiz2026.com.
And if I go or anybody goes online, is there they can be able to make a donation right
Yep.
there?
You could either make a donation or sign up to volunteer.
Sign to volunteer. Thank you. Have
All
a good
right.
day
Thank you
and
so
good
much.
luck in your campaign.
All right. Bye.